right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's going on?
What's going on?
I can't believe we missed it yesterday, guys. It's officially my all-time fave pick of all time in sports. Street clothes in Dallas. He blows his groins out, and he's out for the year. And he goes and tees it up. He's 7 feet tall, and he goes and he tees it up.
I know.
Someone took pics of street clothes on the course, and it was just like, really?
I'm sorry, that should almost void the contract. You know, like we've joked about this in the past. You know, guys who went skiing when they had injured knees. Malakoff, exactly. Up in, or is he Tremblant or something like that?
Yeah.
And like this is absolutely outrageous. Anthony Davis has played one half of basketball.
No, dude, but it's the injury. It's like kind of an upper, like lower stomach.
Yeah, it's a core injury.
Yeah, core injury.
But he's golfing,
but
no
this
problem.
guy goes and tees it up. Like I saw the pic
thing.
and I'm like, and it's not like if you're 5'11", you can blend in. White, black, whatever color you are. You could just put a hat on and you could be a guy.
Yeah.
When you're 7 feet tall,
Yes.
some guy on a cart or maintenance guy is going to look and say, look at that guy.
Yeah, you cannot escape, man.
No,
That's
why would he go and tee it up?
I need more information on this.
Dude,
I need to know where he was
too.
playing. I need to know what he shot. I need to know if he registered his round for handicap
Dude, it looked
purposes.
like the golf course they play the Texas Open at. Like, he wasn't going to some go track.
No, of course not. Of course
This guy
not.
had a gar going. He's smoking a cigar. Like, he was right in. Look at this guy.
Oh, my God, look at him.
Look at this guy. Like, he's just dialed
He's 8
in.
feet tall.
He's
I need to know what he shot.
Yeah.
I need to know. Because
He's a scratch. I'm telling you, he's a
might be.
scratch.
No,
He might
that's
be.
the worst thing about it is he probably shot 140 out there. And, like, if he's a scratch and he's just dying to tee it to play with his buddies and just get out there, fine. There's no way in hell that frame, that stance, there's no way that guy's a scratch.
It would be so tough to golf at 7 feet tall, let alone injured. You know, this is where this GM down in Dallas, man,
Dude.
he can't get out of it because Kyrie's done for the year. Street clothes is hurt, and he's teeing it up. Luka looks great. He's gone Hollywood. The Lakers are going to finish probably with the 2 seed in the West, and Dallas is clinging on to a playoff position. And the thought was, you know, Anthony Davis out indefinitely, but maybe he's back in 3 weeks, maybe a month.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like a guy that's, you know, grinding away, trying to return to form.
But I always wonder, like, when you're injured like that, do you not have a best friend? Like a lot of people in big league sports, they have some type of posse, whether it's big, small, one guy. Don't you have a confidant that says, dude, you cannot go tee it up today?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you
people
can't
are looking
do it.
for you. People are
Yeah.
going to spot you and find you and say, there he is, Anthony Davis, who has played in one game as a Dallas Maverick. This guy's played more golf than he has basketball for the Mavs.
I just don't think he cares. I think
He
guys
may
get
not.
to a point, like, keep in mind, like, this guy's got $100 million in his jeans, if not more.
More than that,
More than
Nichols.
that. Sorry. Like, I'm being
championship
conservative.
ring.
Yeah, like,
Absolutely.
he's done it all. He's been a fantastic player. And in his mind, it's like, I can't play basketball, but I can do other things. But it's the optics, and I get it, But I told you, I played in the minors with a guy who missed a game because of a knee injury. He was on the dance floor in the bar after the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, the optics of it, like you can't take a hit or make an outlet pass, but he can, dance Saturday Night Live. Like, and that's, but everyone thinks, okay, he's just supposed to sit in his house and do nothing. I get it, but it's the optics of it. You're right. Like a friend, a parent, whoever's influential in his life is like, the optics of this are bad. Like, that's what it is.
Well, and in the video and picture we just saw, that's a short game, not a lot of, burn on the body around the greens. But if there's a picture of this guy in the woods, trying to sling one around where he's really got to torque his body, that's where you really have to question, where his head is at right now. I thought you were going to say the Jerry beard, because Jerry's got the beard cooking in South Beach down at the GM meetings. He looks great, right? And I guess, was right in the middle of things.
I didn't see the Jerry beard. All I heard is that when he was asked about the formation for the playoffs, he doesn't like anything but what it is right now. He refuses to look into it.
Yeah, will not do it. Like, is adamant. Let's play the clip, because he had a press conference, and Bettman and company, I think they're in decent spirits. There's a lot going on in the world, clearly, in the Canada-U.S. relations. That affects the NHL more than the other leagues by a mile, clearly, and Bettman's going to have to handle that. But he was asked about it earlier today, the idea of maybe changing up the formation of the playoffs. We talked about it a couple of days ago. Here's what Gary Bettman had to say.
I like, you guys know I'm pretty dug in on this. I like exactly what we have. And if you look at the races that we're having for the regular season, playoffs have started already. We're in our play-in tournament. And I think it's terrific. And, I loved when Gary Mahar showed you that day by day where the team started rotating. What could be more compelling and exciting and entertaining than that?
All right. So he's
But like I said about the best friend, like, does he not have a confidant, whether it be Bill Daly, Coley Campbell, that says, hey, I get it, you'd like that, but isn't there another model that could interest you? Like,
I think
I don't know.
My whole thing is, let's remove the fandom from it. Let's just look at it from a business standpoint, because that's what these guys do. This is numbers. This is money, cold hard money. These owners can't be sitting there going, this year will be case in point. There will be 1, 2, 3 really good teams that miss the playoffs by 1 point this year, probably. Somewhere in that range, 1 to 2 points. Those owners are going to go, I missed a home gate. I missed a couple games home gate. That's millions of dollars. At the owners' meetings, they're going to go, why are we not at least trying to have some form expansion playoffs? Like, get a play-in something. It is, when I first started in the league at 21 teams, it was 16 teams that made it. It's 32 teams, same amount. Like, you could find a way, and this is just cold, hard numbers. Money, more money for the league instead of trying to make it 84 games long. Have those teams... Instead of a tiebreaker, it got brought to my attention today, instead of a tiebreaker, hey, because you won a game in regulation on October 28th, how about a one-game play-in? Wouldn't that be crazy if
there's
two teams
a tie?
tied?
Yeah, that would be great. I mean,
I'd love a one-game play-in. I don't want a three-gamer. I just want a one-game.
I want a one-off, too.
But there is, my point being, and I'm getting worked up about it again because I was thinking about it today, there is the leagues that want to be progressive and at least tweak things. The 3-point game, that tweaked everything because, 3 points being handed, 2 for a winner, 1 for the loser, all of that, that's messed with the standings.
Okay, so but how's the one-game play-in going to work? Is it the first wild card is you get the wild card, but the second and then the one that's closest to them, they battle it out after the season for one game? Or
I think I think what you could do, and this is, I'm tabling this for discussion, if there is a tie, instead of the tiebreaker, what we see, and we're going through, okay, regulation win and overtime, like the two teams that are tied, they play to go into that spot.
Now that, who knows when that will ever happen? You may go years without that actually happening.
I feel like it's going to be this year.
It very well could be. I think the NBA actually created a pretty good plan where historically the top 8 teams get in. Now it's top 6 get in, but 7 versus 8 play one game. 9 versus 10 play one game. If you win the 7 versus 8, you're in because, you battled into the top 8, which was, conventional wisdom would say you were a playoff team. If you're in the 9-10, you got to win that game and then go play the loser of the 7-8. So it works out to be 3 play-in games featuring 4 teams, but you can do it over the course of probably 3 days.
Right.
And it's an advantage to the team that finishes 7th or 8th should have an advantage over the team that finishes 9th or 10th. They had more points. There should be somewhat of an advantage there. I could make a lot of sense of that, but Bettman's he's not going to do it. And listen, he's not wrong about the races this year.
No,
you were at the Bell Center last night. It's electric in Montreal right now.
It's a nightclub last night.
It's crazy because the Habs are there and the Rangers lost and they were awful last night. And now they're panicking in New York. And there's Pierre Engvall looking like Jean Beliveau last night. And
Dude, the Rangers. I love the Rangers again. Like I mentioned it a couple days ago, how people were starting to like take shots at Craig Berube. Like I love the shots at Lavi. Like that team. Have they not realized that team has just maybe no spine this year? Like maybe that's the problem, that they keep going back to that same performance time and time again. Like Boomer Esiason was giving it to Lavi of all people.
Yeah, he said he's got to go. Like you're not going to fire Lavi with 15 games left or whatever.
No.
But
last the idea it being Lavi, I find it to be crazy, Hayes.
Yeah, like, I hear you. I mean, they've gone through the ringer. They've fired a lot of coaches, and listen, what did they have? Like 13 shots last night?
13 shots. They got outshot 35-13.
That's pathetic
now,
at home.
By a team that played the night before. Now, good on Calgary to have a response because they didn't play well against the Leafs. And that was, for me, I felt like the Flames' playoff hopes were hanging in the balance on this road trip for them for sure. But certainly, you get dummied on a Tuesday night, you got to find a way and get it done, or Monday and then Tuesday. So I think I'm getting my days mixed up. Sorry, but Calgary was terrible against the Leafs. They had a response, and the Rangers are sitting there. They're fighting for their collective lives, and they put up 13. That's not Lavi's fault. Like, not at all.
They got a veteran team down there.
That team has all-stars in every position. Shesterkin, Fox, Panarin. Every position has an all-star, and not just a guy who made an all-star team once. Like, these guys
are phonies, man. They're phonies.
Well, hey, I don't
look
know.
like it right now. And listen, the door's open for someone else in Montreal, to their credit. Yep. Like, they beat Florida at home on Saturday night and played great. And then last night, you were there. You know, they put 5 on the board in the third. And it was veterans. It was Dvorak and Anderson and Gallagher showing up for them. And that was a big, big performance. Like the Habs, they're in it, and they've deserved it. And, you know, I've flip-flopped multiple times on this team this year. And 10 days ago, I thought, well, it looks like they're going the other way. Or 2 weeks ago, it looks like they're going the other way. Now they've come alive. And they're playing well, and they smell blood in the water, man, because they're looking at it thinking, why should we be scared of the Rangers?
Why not us?
Exactly. Why would Columbus is fading again, Detroit's fading again. The Islanders, you know, to their credit, they're in it, but they don't scare you. Like if you're the Habs right now, why would you be scared? And they got a cheat code at the Bell Center and in that city where at times, like if it goes south, it can turn on you. It's like Toronto. It can get ugly and you can think, I got to hide here. If there's a wave, like a tidal wave that's starting to build, Montreal, there's nothing like it. Like, New York's not getting it. Detroit's not getting it. Columbus definitely isn't getting it. Montreal's got it, where those guys are like, get me to that rink. That place is popping right now. And that, I think, is a real benefit to them, that they're riding a wave. And their top line's been great. Montebo's been good. That goal Hudson scored last night was unreal. Like, that was an awesome, awesome play at the blue line. Like, that was McCarr-like.
It was.
Hughes-like. Like, to break ankles on a blue line like that, man, you got to have some stones. And he's a rookie.
We did a board last night. He's on pace to get 65 points as a rookie. He's in elite company. We're talking like Brian Lee, like Hall of Famers were on that board, and then it was Cole Hudson. Like that's literally he's in that type of company, the performance he's putting forth.
Like if the season ended right now, he's the rookie of the year, isn't he? I know the goalie in Calgary's been really good.
Wolf is in it, and Celebrini's still the favorite, I think, on FanDuel right now.
I get it. He's got 20 goals or 21 goals, and he's played unbelievable. I don't know. It's just something about a defenseman getting into the league and performing like that. I got to think that he's the rookie of the year.
For me, it's Wolf. But we didn't see it the other night. Obviously, he didn't play well against the Leafs. But I think the separator, I think the Philadelphia guy has dropped off a little bit, Michkov, but he's a great player. Nothing against him. But Celebrini, Wolf, Hudson, and you could make a case for all three of them. Hayes, I know this argument is old or whatever, but if one of them makes the playoffs, that might be your separator. If Dustin Wolf gets the Calgary Flames into the playoffs, that's my separator.
I can't argue against that.
That puts me.
I think that position in particular, like if you're the starting goalie of a team that did not have playoff expectations and you get in, that's really tough to argue against.
And the other thing too, guys, is they don't score. Calgary, it's not like they're a team that has defensive issues and, hey, you know what, we score 4, but we give up 5. Like that team, it's a race to 2 every night. And if the goalie can keep it under 2, they win. And like this kid has given them an opportunity. Not taking anything away from Cole Hudson, because I believe Hudson.
Lane Hudson. Cole's his brother.
Yeah,
he's coming up next.
Lane Hudson. And he's fantastic. You mentioned, like, I laid eyes on him last night. I've seen him live a bunch of times this year. He's special. Like, he's a special, special player. But if Montreal makes the playoffs, like, those are the arguments.
Like, for me, as much as, again, Celebrini's been great,
right.
It's a different mentality out there. He would be third for me. Like, I would probably have Hudson 1A, Wolf 1B, and if they both get in, then I'd probably lean Wolf because of the nature of his position and how tough it is and how important it is to make the playoffs based on riding his coattails almost. All right, Leafs-Avalanche tonight. What a game we've got. John Mitchell will join us, former Leaf. He's out in Colorado, does a lot of analysis work for the Avs. Like, what does he see out of MacKinnon daily, McCarr daily, all the turnover out there? What can we expect out of Colorado tonight? The Leafs were in Colorado about 10 days ago, and they got thoroughly outplayed. Like, especially in the second half of that game. The Leafs have got to be better. Will they be better? We'll tee it up. We'll get to that next. All right, OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Jerry's in about an hour. Craig Button coming up later this afternoon. Dustin Wolf will join us, actually. We'll catch up with Dustin Wolf later this afternoon. And we got a big one downtown. We got Leafs-Avalanche tonight. And this is one of the 2 or 3 games that you want to be in the building for. You know, it's the Oilers rolling through town. It's maybe whoever won the Stanley Cup the year before. Habs on a Saturday night. But Colorado could make a case because they're only here once. McKinnon's rocking. McCarr's rocking. It's a lot of fun to watch them play. I'm sure it's a lot of fun to talk about them daily. And sure enough, here's a guy that gets to do it for a living. From the Altitude TV network, an analyst and former NHLer, former Leaf, good alumni, probably an alumni jacket guy, I would think. Here's John Mitchell. How you doing, John?
Hey, how you doing, fellas?
We're doing well.
Okay.
How much fun is it to cover this Avalanche team? And in this year in particular, with how crazy it's been with trades and, you know, different guys coming and different guys going, what's it been like?
Well, it's awesome. Each and every night it's pretty fun to be able to watch these guys play and have the opportunity to talk about them. And you have to give Chris MacFarland a lot of credit what he's been able to do with this team and revamping it and making it look like a very good team that contend for the Stanley Cup. So it certainly is a lot of fun.
Is it crazy that you're even saying that, Mitchie? It seems like a lot of teams, when Rantanen goes out the door, they'd be like, well, I guess this isn't our year. And although that did happen, there's a lot of optimism and there's a lot of good players that came the other way, and it looks like the Avs are going to be a serious contender.
That's a good point, O-Dog. For sure. When you have somebody the caliber of Mikko Rantanen go out the door, you would think, okay, this team they must be selling, right? They're not buyers at this point, but obviously they weren't able to get a deal done for whatever reason, and then he gets shipped out, and you get Nichushkin, who's been a phenomenal addition. He's a young player. He's only 26 years old, and this kid is electric. I'm not going to lie. Watch him tonight in Toronto, and the way he can dance and maneuver through the neutral zone and then even in the offensive zone, he is special because, Mikko, don't get me wrong, Mikko is unbelievable. He's a superstar in the league. He didn't possess quite the same attributes, I guess, that Nichushkin has, where with his speed and his shiftiness and his elusiveness in the neutral zone and especially in the offensive zone. So he's such a fun player to watch. But again, when you have a guy like Mikko go out the door, there's probably a lot of people scratching their head. And around here in Denver, there were a lot of people that were upset because he's been such a stalwart and he's been such a big player for this team for many years.
So we talk about the players, but at what point was it a massive shock that they made the change with not one goaltender but both? Because I know you out of Colorado, the whispers are like, okay, is Georgiev going to get it done? Not sure what's going on. The guy with the big head, and Noonan, he was there, and he wasn't stopping pucks. So all of a sudden, it's like MacFarland goes, both of you got to go. I mean, how big of a shock was that?
Well, anytime you trade one goalie, obviously, let alone two, there's going to be a little bit of shock. But I don't think the shock was quite as big because of the struggles that the two previous goalies were having here in Colorado. I think it was a breath of fresh air. It was a little bit of a sigh of relief. And then to go out and get the caliber of goaltender that you did in Mackenzie Blackwood, and then also with your quote-unquote backup goaltender, who really, when he's in between the pipes, he really doesn't look like a backup goaltender at all. He's playing phenomenal with Wedgwood. So you just went out and you shipped out two goalies that, frankly, were struggling and having a hard time stopping a beach ball, and you replaced them with two really, really good goaltenders. And then to go and lock up Mackenzie Blackwood for 5 years within 2 weeks of getting him here, I don't think you could have asked for anything better if you're, in the organization or an Avalanche fan.
With Avalanche analyst John Mitchell, Leafs Avs tonight. So we're getting into the stretch run here. Well, we're officially in it. Post-trade deadline, it's go time now. And I think for the Hart Trophy, it's down to three guys. It's either MacKinnon, Draisaitl, or Hellebuck. I'm guessing you would side with MacKinnon. If that's the case, can you make the case, John, for why Nathan MacKinnon should win back-to-back Hart Trophies?
Yeah, it would have to be Nate, obviously, in my opinion, because what he does night in and night out is something truly remarkable and very special. You know what I mean? O-Dog, he scored some big goals back in the day, but I don't know if he could consistently do that for 82 games like Nathan MacKinnon can.
No, he couldn't.
Thanks.
The answer is he couldn't, but thank you, John. Continue.
Sorry, O-Dog, I just had to mention that.
At least you acknowledge my greatness. I appreciate that.
There are flashes of greatness. Yes, there was, O-Dog. But that's where Nathan MacKinnon, he separates himself, from every player in the league, in my opinion, is his ability to prepare for games and frankly dominate games at certain times with his speed. And I mean, he's mean to the ice. Like, he beats the ice up when he skates. He's that powerful. And the way he stops on a dime for me is the big thing. Is he's not necessarily small. It's not like Nathan MacKinnon is a 175-pound player. Like, he's 5'11" or 6 foot. He's 200 pounds. Like, he's a big dude, but he moves out there like he's a smaller player. And he's so quick and he's so shifty. And the way he can stick handle and pass, stick handle and shoot and get the puck off is like really nobody else in the league other than maybe Connor McDavid, right? So, that would be my case for him, is his ability to do it every single night and be a major impact for his team every single night. And then just with the injuries that the Avs have had over the course of the year, I think 3 weeks ago was the first time all season long, with the exception of Gabe Landeskog, that the Avalanche actually had their entire lineup on the ice all at the same time. So he's been able to do what he's been able to do with even a shorthanded team.
What are you hearing on Landeskog? Because he's on the ice. I think he's up here in Toronto. I believe he took the trip. Is there any chance he can return by the playoffs and actually play?
I sure hope so. I really do, because he is an incredible human being. He's a phenomenal leader, unbelievable captain. Just his presence alone in the room, even if he played 6 or 7 minutes a night, would be great for these kids. And the younger players, obviously, that are in that dressing room, and then even the older guys, and bringing back EJ, the little things like that. It's starting to feel similar to that 2022 Stanley Cup run. And if they could get Gabe back, I mean, that would be obviously phenomenal. And he skated here, or not here yesterday, but the day before he was at practice in Denver. I think I saw some pictures of him pregame skate this morning in Toronto. So he's putting some skating together. And usually it was, you'd see him out for one practice and then he'd kind of disappear for a couple weeks. But seeing him skate consecutively, I don't know. It seems like something could be brewing here. So
it's kind of a sensitive topic, but this Nichushkin character, he's such an unbelievable player. But is there an apprehension or concern, because he had 9 goals in 8 games last year in the playoffs, and obviously had some struggles. Same thing in the year before in the playoffs. And he's got 17 goals in 30 games this season. Like, he's a unicorn. He's an absolute beast. But is there a little bit of like, okay, let's see if he can make it through the playoffs type of thing? Or, where are you at with that? Or what are the whispers around Colorado?
Well, I'm sure the Avalanche are going to take every opportunity to make sure that he has everything that he needs to take care of himself for when they get into the playoffs. Right. he might have a full-time security guard by his hotel room, or somebody that's attached to his hip at all times, but he needs to make sure that he does what he needs to do to help this team win, right? And obviously the past couple of years he hasn't been able to do that. So I think that this year, he's kind of he's on his last straw, or he's already used that one up. So I can't imagine, but crazier things have happened, obviously.
Great catching up with you, John. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll do it again down the road.
All right. Thanks, fellas. And Hazer, I heard you're a fraud or something like that.
Yeah, I know. It's made its way out
What's
there.
going on with that?
It's made its way to the Rockies.
Everywhere. It's in the Rockies now.
You can't escape it.
Denver, I'm hearing you're a fraud.
Yeah, it's not true. Fight back for me, please. If anyone says that, do not accept it, please, John. You're better than that.
I think I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I kind of like it.
All right, spread the word then. Whatever. Whichever way you want to go with it.
Fellas.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it, John Mitchell. Good Oakville boy.
Who's whispering that to? Like, who is
I don't know.
it?
He's
Doogie?
from here. He's from around here. That would be fascinating.
He's watched and heard it all.
If Doogie's the one spreading the word,
I feel like Doogie's like reminder before you go. Drop that. Like if he does that, that's treason.
Fraud. That would be treason.
Never, boys.
Never.
I would never
Okay,
do that to you, Brian.
Doogie, if we ever catch you doing that, you might as well pack your bag and your cologne and walk out of the building.
It's not happening.
Pack your cologne and get out.
Pack up your brute kit and
I'll
away
talk to
you go.
JP in private and figure out what's going on.
Which reminds me, I think next week would be a perfect week to start sending in applications if you want to head to a Leaf game with Doogie and me and Hayes.
I
agree with that. I agree. I mean, the spring weather's out. It's time to get outside. Love is in the air.
It's time for Doogie to take the shackles off. He's a single man, and it's time that he presents roses. We're going to do the OverDrive final rose, where Doogie is going to have to offer it up. See who accepts it. Okay. Doogie, are you in?
I'm in.
All right.
Love
Date
it.
a Doogie has been established. Date a Doogie has been established. And we got, the Leaf game tonight, only 2 games in the NHL, so they take center stage. And Joseph Woll will get the start tonight, which I find somewhat interesting because last week when it was Florida and Ottawa, it was Stolarz.
Yeah.
And those were big games, and, the team didn't play well enough to win those games. I thought Stolarz played okay. He didn't play great, but played okay. And now they're swinging back to Joseph Woll in a big, big game. Like Colorado's as hot as any team in the league, and we saw what happened, again 10 days ago. Like it's tough to stop these guys, and Woll's going to be tested tonight, and they're going to him.
I love it. The Noodles, I mean, you can weigh in, but I think you have a performance like that, you ride it out and see what you can muster out of it. Why not?
I think so, too. There's a couple things. It's back-to-back, so you had to choose who was playing tonight and tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got a busy schedule. Plus, I thought he played solid the other day, so, give an opportunity. To me, I feel like, it wasn't set in stone, like, hey, it's Stolarz' net. Like, I think it's still open for discussion, even though Stolarz statistically has had a better season than Woll, but Stolarz missed 6 weeks. Was it 6 weeks or 8 weeks?
Yeah, closer to 8, I think.
Yeah, so, I mean, Joseph Woll, if you play well, see if he can get on a little roll here.
Sure. And he's got the playoff experience. He's played really well in tight games, and they got to show up tonight. Like I think this is a big one for the Leafs, man. They need a signature win. You can't just beat teams that are lower than you in the standings, and I can't recall the last time they had a big win against maybe Carolina out of the break, but that was a weird night, Saturday night, coming out of Four Nations. Everything was
what you
weird.
can't do is lay an egg.
Exactly.
You had one great game against Calgary that didn't play that well. You dominated the game, but that's what you got. One game, you couldn't follow it up.
Man. You got because in the last
these heater teams, they do that on a nightly basis, man.
Exactly. And confidence is a big thing in sports. You got to have it. You got to be able to. You got to accumulate it, man. And you got to be able to run with teams like this. Like if you're going to be a legitimate team, you can't just fold because Colorado's in town. or because you were in Vegas and it was tough travel. You got to show up and play. And I think the microcosm of that is Matthews, because McKinnon's going to do it. We just heard John Mitchell. Like, McKinnon shows up, man. They haven't played since Sunday. They were in town yesterday. He knows the platform that they're on tonight. He's going to be flying. Like, he will be flying, and Makar will be flying. I'd be shocked if it went any other way than that. And if the belief is you can't really stop McKinnon, then you're going to have to match McKinnon, and it's time for Matthews to do that. It's time for him to get back into that kind of level where he's running with the big dogs, because that's where he's lived for the last 8 years. Like, he's been one of those guys where there's no excuse for him not to be able to do it. And I think it's a big moment for him. I think it's a big moment for the team tonight. I think they really got to prove that they can play with them, outplay them.
They handed it to them, I think, last year. Last year, I think they handed it to them pretty good, where Colorado looked terrible.
Well, was it last year or 2 years ago where it was like a 9 spot? Like, it was something gross.
They gave him the business 1 year.
There was one, though, last year where Colorado, I think, took off in the third and got him. Remember, the Leafs were up 3-1, and Colorado won 4-3 or something like that. And it was McKinnon
That's not
and
the
Makar.
one I was thinking.
No, I'm talking. It was like there was a goalie. There was that Johansson, the backup in Tampa, I think, was in net, and it was like an ugly eight.
I don't know if that was
something.
Last year.
It was a couple years ago, a couple years back.
Because I think last year was the Sheldon Keefe when he was like, "Wow, look at those guys! Like, look how great they are." And it's interesting. He said that after the game. He's like, "Well, you can't stop them." And Berube's saying it before the game. Like, we have this clip. Craig Berube, he's saying it in jest. He's having fun. Where Keefe was being a little bit more serious, and it was a little bit more cutting. Scathing, I would say, to an extent, because it was after the game and after they had just come in and taken over the game. McKinnon and Makar, Rantanen, etc. Here's what Craig Berube had to say today on the idea of trying to stop Nathan MacKinnon.
What's the key to slowing down McKinnon?
Well, I don't know, but if you find out before the game, you can let me know. You just got to try to stay on top of them the best you can. It's just like playing McDavid, right? They got great speed, and they're competitive guys with tons of skill.
He loved that line. He was very happy with that.
That is such a coach line, man. Let me know before the game if you figure it out. But it's very simple against those guys. If you want to play loose and try to trade chances, and you gotta jersey it up. Like, you got to be tight in the neutral zone, and you can't give up odd man rushes, because that's when they absolutely crush you. And if you get caught doing that early in the game, you're just a dumb hockey team. Sorry. Like, if you want to even attempt that early on, turnovers, stupid penalties, and throw Makar and McKinnon out there in the power play, you're just dumb, because they'll crush you, man.
Well, and the other thing, too, is we talk about Makar, McKinnon, like, they added depth at the deadline. Like, it's Coyle, it's Nelson. It's like this is a team that is deep, and they're big, they're fast, they're physical. Like, it's not just going to be, hey, Matthews. Like, you need your whole team to play well tonight. And what I'd like to see is follow it up. Like, you had, you broke through on Monday. Yes, Calgary didn't have their best, but the Leafs looked good. Follow it up against a team that what's their record against top teams? It's like 500.
Yeah,
got to be better.
In the East, up until recently, it was 8-9 versus playoff teams.
Right.
So, yeah, those numbers are that speaks to what we're talking about here.
Right.
If you're getting close to go time here, we're middle of March. You got to have some games where you can look at it and say, we know that's our A game against A competition. And I think that's what's on the line tonight.
Yeah.
Because of everything that Colorado has done this year, they've been a soap opera. Everyone's paid attention to them, and they're winning almost every game. McKinnon, he's right there for the Hart, the Art Ross. Makar's right there for the Norris. And it says nothing about other guys that you spoke of, like Nichushkin and Drouin's really fit in well there. And, they've got a really good team.
More importantly, guys, more than anything, is their last 4 or 5 games against heater teams. They haven't won.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Vegas, Florida, Colorado, Ottawa was on fire when they faced them. They lost all those games. Yeah, the Leafs did. And that's got to turn. It has to turn. And you got a heavy schedule here. They're tonight against Colorado, tomorrow in New York, Saturday in Nashville. Like Mark Masters was tweeting out that the only guys on the ice for the optional were scratches. And David Kampf will be a scratch again tonight, and Philippe Myers and Stolarz. And he said that's the only time that's happened all year. So we've got to that point of the schedule where they're playing a lot, they're getting close to the playoffs. Like, guys are just not even going to go on the ice.
Yeah.
Like, it's just basically get ready to play, go out and play, and you got to perform.
Well, 3 and 4 in 3 different cities, and with the time zone change too in there, snuck in there. I mean, yeah, you're managing your body right now. That's what you're doing. So I don't mind that. And you say this all the time. The guys are in such great shape. It's more about what you need to do to play that particular night. So what do you got? You're on home ice tonight because the next couple you're not. So you got to figure it out.
John Cooper is renowned for not a lot of practices going on in Tampa Bay, but when you show up to the rink for a game, you better play, and they do. They respond. Because if you don't, then you start practicing again.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a veteran team, you need to appreciate that your coach is doing that and go out there and repay him. All right, so more on this as we move forward. Craig Button coming up. Darren Dreger was down at the GM meetings. Dregs will join us later this afternoon. Jerry's percentages at 5:30. And newsflash, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. is sitting there doing interviews with people about his future
I'm already growing
free
tired
agency.
of it. We get it, dude. You're going to be a UFA. You got to throw in – this line drives me nuts, including the Yankees. It's like, is that one specific line supposed to scare Ross and Mark into saying, oh, God, he's going to talk to the – stop saying and the Yankees.
It's a great question in terms of what his motives are here, because – He did another interview, sat down with a Spanish-speaking journalist, so he's comfortable. There's no interpreter. He's just talking. Like, that's Vladdy, and he's saying what he's saying. And it was released. It got out online today. He sat down in the last couple of days down in Dunedin, and Vladdy keeps talking about free agency. And he said, I don't want to be a distraction. I'm just here to play ball. He can't stop talking about his free agency.
Giant distraction.
It's a giant. And I also just question where this guy's head's at. Like, how dedicated are you to playing when you can't wait to sit down and talk about next offseason?
You know what I think it is? I really think it's panicky. I think it's panicky because he's not quite comfortable into thinking he can be dynamite this year and have everybody drooling over him at the end of the season. That's my read on it. I think he's panicky, and what player keeps bringing it up after he says, okay, I told you, negotiate before the season or I'm done, and we just play ball and that's it. And he keeps bringing it up. I think it's a sign of panic. I really do.
It very well could be. It could be him begging the Blue Jays
to circle back.
Come back and circle back. But it also, if that's the case, then you go back. Like, if you're so nervous or you don't want to leave here, then call up Mark Shapiro. Forget Shapiro. Call the owner. You could call him directly. Call him directly and say, fly down here, please. Let's sit down, you and I. Let's work something out here. And I'll bet you could get it done over dinner. Here, Vladdy, we'll throw you an extra, $10 million, whatever. We'll make you this. You got to come here. You got to come to us in this certain area. If that's what his motive is, then don't rely on your agent to do it for you. Don't wait for Mark Shapiro, Ross Atkins to call you. You're a grown adult. Call him and say, let's go. Forget all this. I don't need this hanging over me because I'm with you. He's talking too much. Like, it's too much. And the Yankee stuff is so stupid and insulting to Blue Jay fans.
It is.
It's so insulting when you're a Blue Jay, you're under contract, you've been here forever, you've been greatly supported. People largely want you to stick around. They want to see you get paid. No one's yelling and screaming like, how dare you, you're so greedy. That hasn't been the case.
No.
But if you keep throwing out, I'll even talk to the Yankees for sure. Don't forget about the Yankees.
It's such a stupid comment.
It's an uncalled
because when he
maneuver.
says I'm going to talk to all teams, that includes the Yankees.
Exactly.
You don't have to say that at the end, including the Yankees. No one's going to shart themselves after hearing that and say, "Oh, we better sign him now."
Right. Exactly. And he also now this is again. I'm relying on interpretation, which can be a little bit of a grind because I can't. I can't sit there and listen to it. He's speaking in Spanish. But I had seen, some people tweeting out that he was talking about his floor in terms of price, that even if he has a down year, he still thinks the floor is $500 million. And if that's the case, that is completely delusional.
I totally agree.
Like, if you go out there and you hit 20 home runs and hit 215 with an OPS of 790 and you miss games due to injury, you're not getting $500 million. Like that'd be crazy to
somebody
expect
is telling him that, though. His
I hear you.
agent,
Someone's
whatever.
telling him that, but he's got to pull his weight, man, to get that kind of money. Like he might get more if he pulls his weight. If he has a great year, he could get $600 million. He might. Like he might get $600 million at his age, and he puts together a great year. That'll be 2 years in a row, 3 of the last 4 or 5 where he's been great. But if he has another down year and it just yo-yos back and forth, I'm not convinced that guy's getting $500 million.
I've just never seen a guy.
I'm not sure he's convinced of that either. Why would he say that?
Yeah. Never seen a guy put in the rules, you got to get this done before the day 1 of spring training or it's over. Every other negotiation I've ever seen, you don't hear a peep from the guy.
But
and this guy keeps circling back. I'm going to talk to every. It's like, dude, we get it. We get it. And the Yankees, yes, thanks.
Yeah, of course the Yankees.
But if you put the rule in place that you don't want to be a distraction, all you're doing is being a distraction.
No kidding.
By talking about it. Mitch Marner, I will give him credit for this. He didn't want to talk about it. Doesn't say a word about it. That's it. The only time it got brought up is when at the deadline here, because there was, a potential, hey, we need to waive or a trade or whatever was going on.
That was worthy of being answered on.
Exactly. But outside of that, he hasn't talked about it all year. That's all we hear about Vladdy. That's all he's talking about. Somebody should challenge him and say, I thought you don't want to talk about it. And all you're doing is talking about it.
Exactly. And obviously he's being asked the question, but it's a simple retort. Not getting into it. Okay, moving on. Let's see where else we're at. That's the thing. It's not, you can't play the role. Well, he keeps being asked about it. Okay. Exactly, because he keeps talking about it.
No kidding. I got nothing to say about it, and then an hour later he's sitting down with somebody doing a full-blown interview and blowing up the internet.
Exactly. Yes. Oh, yeah, the Yankees. Yeah, I'll be talking to them. You play them 15 times this year.
That'll piss Jays fans off. He keeps that up, man. They'll start booing his ass if he keeps it up.
It's dangerous, man. Agreed. You come, and especially if you come out of the gate playing poorly. You're struggling. The team's losing. It's a powder keg right now. Like the fan, you want to have some faith and belief, and it's a new season, and I think every fan has it built into them. They want to be optimistic. You want to be, but Dodger fans, if they started 2-8, people would be like, nah, whatever, I'll figure it out. The Jays start 2-8. It's a very different story.
I'm telling you, there's a little panic. There's always a reason behind everything, and I think that he's panicking a little bit. He might have thought that getting Jays Nation, or however they describe their fan base, like on his side and against the ownership or management, it might have kind of called their bluff and made them react, and it didn't happen. And now he's like, maybe
that could be the case.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's doing. I got to try to stir the pot again. And it looks panicky. And if I was Jay's management, I wouldn't budge.
Yeah,
I would not budge.
Well, you're right. I mean, this is the thing about spring training is they're not in town. Like he hasn't been home yet. They're not in Toronto yet, and they start with a big homestand and.
I'd be curious his reception, Brian, when he goes up to the.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, it will be interesting when he gets called out opening day, like how people are going to react to all this. All right, Craig Button coming up. Jerry's percentages coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, Craig Button coming up in about 10 minutes. Jerry's percentages. We got March Madness starting up. And we should point out FanDuel's allowing users to create March Madness futures parlays. You can parlay an overall winner, one team to reach the Sweet 16 with another to reach the Elite 8. There's so many different things you can do. You got to check out the FanDuel Sportsbook app for all the details. But this is big, man. Like you played in Carolina for years. There's nothing like it in the States, especially certain states like in North Carolina. It is just all basketball all the time for the next 3 weeks.
Dude, you know that I'm a lunch guy, and I like to I eat my lunch at the bar.
Yeah.
I've done it my whole adult life. You go into a place in Carolina, packed, like hanging off the rafters of nobody goes to work. They don't work, man.
Oh, it's completely off.
Dude, it is the Stanley Cup playoffs on steroids down there.
Mm-hmm. Especially you get Duke in it and Carolina and stuff. It's just NC State, which is where you were. You get any of those teams in,
unreal. It's
go time. And yeah, Madness is about to kick off. And, of course, you can watch every second of every game on TSN. So it's going to be a big few weeks for us at the network. And we got the Leafs in action tonight. The Raptors are not in action. The Blue Jays, again, continue to move towards opening day. And we'll get to some golf picks later this afternoon as well. Actually, pretty sneaky little field this
Yeah,
week.
it is a good field.
Sneaky little field.
Which you would think after the players, people would be like, I need a break, blah, blah, blah. But they get a good turnout there.
Yeah, they're playing. And you see Scottie Scheffler revealed his menu, his championship menu. And this always is, it's kind of goofy. Like, people break it down like it actually matters. But I'm always kind of fascinated. Like, these guys are so rich. There's the greatest golfers in the world.
I know. This guy has sliders.
He goes with like sliders and meatballs and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah. Chili is the first course.
Yeah, Texas-style chili is how this guy's going to start his meal.
I know. Like guys from like Australia, they're flying in this special tuna that can only be caught off this coast of Australia, and this guy's having chili as a happy.
Like, he's got his uncle showing up with a crock pot and serving it to Gary Player.
Gary Player.
I know you would do the hazy bee lasagna.
For sure.
That would be my go-to, but it would be beloved. I mean,
you imagine Stadler all liquored up having your lasagna? God, he would love that.
Oh, Stads and Woozy in the corner.
Stads
with
and Woozy with furnace face in the butler cabin, just crushed, asking for seconds to take back to their hotel.
Yeah, I need a sheet for the road. Stads. All right, Craig Button coming up on the Habs pursuit. Well, they're not even pursuing it anymore. They're in the second wild card. Can they hold on to it? That and more, and we'll continue to tee up the Leaf game tonight. Jerry's percentages at 5:30. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.